Today on Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond.
I finally created a business around that and realized, oh my gosh, everything I have done has led to this.
A third of the people love you, a third don't care about you, and a third hate you. So you concentrate on the third that love you and you go for it.
I think the greatest Achilles heel for leaders is they don't give themselves time to think.
So my journey is one of those, there are a lot of detours. There's a lot of going off on the side roads.
Thrive Out listeners, you're in for a treat. We're here with Jamal Mashburn,
Jesse Itzler,
V. John Maxwell,
Jackie the Joke Man Martling,
New York Rangers great Mike Richter,
Lisa Lampanelli,
Mary Carrillo.
Oh, how nice.
I'm actually going through the practice of being an entrepreneur.
Pick yourself up, brush yourself off, and thrive loud.
Get ready to thrive loud with Lou Diamond.
I love it.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond, connecting you to the most inspiring and amazing people that are thriving each and every day. I am your host, Lou Diamond, and today on Thrive Loud, we have author, speaker, marketer, podcaster, counselor, wardrobe stylist, image consultant. Yes, Thrive Loud listeners, she is all of these things. Through a myriad of multiple careers, this amazing woman is all about working with people to help them achieve their dreams by looking good inside and outside. Her trademarked style class is dedicated to the working women and men in corporate settings needing to up their image to get ahead. From somewhere near Portland, Oregon, or actually maybe very much in it, Thrive Loud listeners, Rose Jubb. Rose, how are you today?
I am very well. Thank you. That was a lovely intro.
Well, we love giving lovely intros on Thrive Loud because that's what makes this show so much fun, so they can connect with our listeners. And Rose and I have connected really virtually, just like we're communicating right now via the lovely internet web thing, whatever it is, constantly on various multi-day a week meetings where we're making sure that we're staying on our game and we're growing our own businesses. And that's where I met Rose and recognized she was a rock star and recognized that she's got a great story that I think our Thrive Loud fans would love to hear. So with no pressure and that little bit of an intro, Rose, could you share with our community a little bit about your journey, which has been all over the place, and how you got to doing this image consulting work and this style class, which is so awesome that people are loving everywhere?
Oh, well, thank you. I very much, yes, took a long road to get here. It was kind of funny. I was always good at art and everything visual, actually. Any visual math you have to do, I can do it for you. It's just been who I've always been. So I went to art school, learned design, and worked in marketing departments for many, many years until the global financial crisis happened in 2008. And I decided I wanted to go back to school for psychology. I wanted to help people. It was an interesting road. moved to Portland, Oregon from Minnesota, where I had grown up, just on exactly a whim, but it just felt like more like home. Got my bachelor's in psychology here, got married, traveled, went to Australia, got my master's degree there in social science, and started working in the homelessness and domestic violence areas, as well as mental health and addiction. All of those topics sound super fun, right?
And more notably, as our listeners are going, did Lou read the right bio for the right person that we have here today?
More notably, I was styling people the entire time and not getting paid for it. Brilliant business mind, obviously. I took this funny road through art and design and psychology, got to the end of that road, and got as far as I could get without, getting a PhD, and decided after I had my son that it was kind of burning me out. I still wanted to help women. I still wanted to help people, but didn't know exactly how I wanted to do that, but knew I had to pivot. And eventually the universe just smacked me over the head enough times with people asking me to style them constantly and help them with their closets and help them with their image for work that I finally created a business around that and realized, oh my gosh, everything I have done has led to this, because the art, the design, the marketing, the styling, it all kind of led me to this place where I help people market themselves better with their image. I up their confidence with their image. It's a really fun road to travel down with someone. And that's how I got here, doing all those different things. I'm highly, highly qualified.
So the most degrees ever to help somebody figure out what they need to put together and look good. So Rose, I want to jump on this topic and let's talk about style in itself, right? We're in a weird, challenging world. And I bring this from the way that we style and the image that we have. I'm not talking so much about how we appear online or whatnot. I want to first talk about what we wear. Mm-hmm. Perfect example in the sense that if I went into, I live just outside of New York City, and I can go into one building on one floor, and I can go to a shared WeWork space, and I can see people wearing suits and ties, very formally put together for one industry, to literally ripped T-shirts, ripped jeans, and the guy came in on a skateboard. And oh, by the way, these people are all in the same meeting together. So there's a lot of challenges and statements. Talk a little bit about how you work with styles and trying to not only determine what's right for the individual, but maybe even kind of give a little bit of an overview of what's going on in the space today, because it's everything. Yes. It's not just like, business casual, very formal, whatever. It's there's no terminology for it. Help the listeners understand, what the hell do I put on this morning?
We are definitely in the age of athleisure, which is tricky because
I like that.
Patent penny. Because it actually is harder. The more options you have, the more issues you have picking something out during the day. So when somebody says, oh, I'm so glad I'm getting this new job, the office is business casual, I'm like, all right. Because the more options you have, business casual can run anywhere from, almost a complete suit, but maybe things aren't matching quite, and, a non-tie, but still a button-up shirt, all the way down to nice jeans, a t-shirt, and a very casual blazer. And then even more casual in some environments. So it is very tricky. I like to talk to individuals about how to style themselves based on what their goals are, where they're going, who their clients and customers are that are going to get them there, and what they want to be doing in 5 years.
Okay. So actually, that's a really good question there. Why are you giving them a timeline on how their style relates today versus what it could be tomorrow?
Right. Because usually 5 years is a good marker about, we always get asked anyway, what do you want to be doing in 5 years? And I ask, what do you want to look like in 5 years? Like, what does your career look like? What does your life look like? What's the balance between work and life? I ask all these questions to get them thinking and motivated about where they want to go. Because when you look in the mirror and you see something positive, if you see something motivating, if you see the person you want to be in 5 years, this successful version of yourself, you are going to, this is where the psych degree comes in. You're going to feel new positive feelings about yourself. Those feelings translate to positive thoughts about yourself. Those thoughts turn into positive action. So when you think about that 5 years is just about enough to look super polished for whatever station you're at or career point you're at, but not so polished that you look like you're trying too hard.
Okay. And I like this. I'm not going to get to me in a second, but I want to talk about men and women specifically, because there is this unique challenge. I used to work in a very formal work environment, being a consultant years ago. This was in the 90s, where we always had to dress kind of to what the clients were doing and what their environments were. But mostly we were always dressing up, so to speak. And I remembered women used to say, oh my God, it's so much easier to be a guy. You basically have a few suits, so you could change a bunch of shirts and maybe just mix it up with a tie. But women had a lot of challenges.
Yes.
Fast forward to today. It almost feels like we may have flipped the turn here because now there are so many options on what to wear. How do you specifically break out the way you work with men and women? Because I imagine there is some kind of a difference.
It's still easier for guys. Like I was saying, it's just the burden we have. We look fabulous, but also it takes a little more work to get there. We have so many options. We have it can seem like an embarrassment of riches because we can, look very feminine and powerful, and we can, dress in menswear and look very powerful. And it just depends on your personality. There's so much wrapped up though in dressing for women around just intrinsic value as a human, because for tens of thousands of years, it's been how you look is automatically translated into your value. So how young you are, how if you can procreate, like that is all wrapped up and still socially, injected into our heads. Our looks are our value. So it's unfortunate. And it can be very hard sometimes to subtract that and find what's left of your actual personal style. Whereas for guys, you can go to any Nordstrom suit department and, find a mix and match of slacks or dress pants and jackets to whatever formality level you work at, and then a tie or no tie situation.
I know she's laughing, and she does. By the way, Thrive Loud listeners will see from the podcast artwork, Rose has one heck of a smile, so she's always ear to ear.
Hey, Thrive Loud fans! If you're enjoying how Lou is connecting with this guest in this episode, then just imagine how impactful he can be in person. As an international speaker and consultant, Lou Diamond is all about getting organizations to thrive through the power of connecting. To learn more about how you can have Lou speak at your company, your conference, or your event, head on over to loudiamond.net and click the Book Lou Diamond link to learn more. He'll truly get everyone to thrive loud. Okay, back to the show.
Okay, so I have a very good friend, Sylvie DeGiusto, who has been a guest on the show and has a wonderful thought process that within the first 7 seconds, someone can judge you. Basically, and make judgments about you, about the way you look, the way you act, the way you fit, what you wear. And obviously that same myriad can be carried online. She's come up with the ABCDs of image in a sense. Do you believe that? Do you believe that in that quick of amount of time we judge, and how important is your style in that realm?
I think it's actually faster. More and more evidence is coming out that we are making snap judgments a lot faster. Our brains are actually hardwired to make these visual decisions right away. All these shortcuts need to happen because so many things are going on in our brains at once. The shortcut is this person looks like this, they're safe or not safe, we work with them or we don't. All the different judgment calls you can make about class or their positions or their responsibility levels or their knowledge. It's all made in 3 seconds or less, I think, just based on the research that's out now. So I believe it's happening and I preach it. Heck yeah.
I'll make sure you and Sylvie can have a heck yeah moment. I like it.
Heck yeah. High five, Sylvie.
Okay. So talk to our Thrive Loud community about your trademarked style class.
Yeah, I do. So my business is kind of multi-pronged. It is. I do sales training around the country. I speak to sales teams about how to leverage their image for better results, but I do it in a way that other stylists probably don't because I do have the psych and the marketing background. So I kind of climb into the customer's brains and tell them what they want to hear. But also I help them leverage their personality because so much is left behind in their closet so much of an advantage in attracting the right clients and customers, the ideal clients and customers. So many sales associations and websites have identified wasting time on leads that aren't going to go anywhere as one of the biggest struggles in the sales industry. And part of my goal is to have people walking out of the house kind of advertising just in a glance where they are, where they're going, and hopefully attracting the clients and customers that they aren't going to waste their time and effort on. People are going to know right away when they look at them, oh, they're my people. I think this is going to work out. So I do the training and the consulting part. I do have online services as well, mostly under Style Class, that are educational courses online that teach women how to dress their best with all this information in mind, as well as a membership for women-owned business gals who are out there often on their own, solopreneurs that may not have had this education growing up or may not be thinking about it, but know they have to level up. So I help them in an online membership called the Owner Society, leverage their image as well, just in a new, exciting virtual way.
Okay, so now we're going to have a little bit of fun, even though we've been having fun from the very beginning, Rose. The fun part I'm talking about here is a very unique thing that both you and I do that actually has a lot to do with an image and specifically in what you wear. And that is that both you and I speak, and we speak to audiences, and there is a certain image associated with the people that are speaking as a keynote speaker or a leader facilitating a group. Obviously, give us a little bit of your thought as it relates to your wardrobe and your image on how you are on stage for those that are speakers, because it's a little bit different than those that are in their work environments. I understand you're in a sales meeting, you're trying to impress with your client and connect that way, but there's a different component to being on stage. Can you share that with the Thrive Loud community?
Yes, I can. Well, there is an amount of theater that happens when you're a speaker. So it does need to be, it still needs to suit you as far as fit, because just like for the rest of your life, if something doesn't fit, it can never, ever be stylish. So fit is number one, always, 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 even on stage. So especially on stage, it still has to be great colors on you, great shape on you, blah, 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 all the regular things you're going to check. But I think that when you're on stage, I think you need to be dressing the formality level just up, whatever the people are going to be wearing in the room. And you can always ask an event coordinator, like, what do people usually wear to these events? Do they come super casual? Are they dressed up? Is it more of like a networking thing as well? So people are putting out an effort. Wherever they're going to be at in formality level, I want you to be at least 1 or 2 steps ahead of them. I'm not talking like black tie or anything like that, obviously, unless it's a black tie dinner, like you're going to max out at black tie, I think. But being a few steps ahead of them, it subconsciously lets the person know. It just gives you like a credibility check automatically. Yes, it is judging a book by its cover, but that's what our brains do constantly every day within like 3 seconds, obviously. They are going to check off these responsibility and expert boxes in their heads just by you showing up with the intention of looking your best. So and beyond that, I think a little bit of personality and a little bit of trend can also help, because when you get up on the stage as a speaker, you are lending your brain and your expertise. You're telling people you're an expert in whatever area you're talking about, right? So if you're an expert, you need to be current. If you are current, you're probably going to be up on the latest trends, or at least looking current. Like, you're not going to be wearing bell bottoms on stage. You're not going to be wearing fat collars on stage, unless that is a current trend. But even if it is, I don't advise it.
No, I think it's very helpful. And I was going to say, because it's interesting, and where I was leading on this, obviously, there are certain people who have already established their image and own it and wear it on stage a lot. From Gary Vaynerchuk, who's wearing literally some rock and roll t-shirt and jeans every time he speaks, to obviously Tony Robbins, we'll use him, who always wears a black long, shirt that's just tucked out a little bit and whatever, jeans or whatever that is he wears below. And then obviously others that have worn suits and bow ties, or women that wear these certain unbelievable dresses that come out each time they present. And there's that fine line between building your image and brand and making it part of your brand. And I guess a lot of the work that you do in helping people define that at the next level up is really taking it to that next level. Which do you have more fun with? Really that image of trying to up somebody and get them from ground zero and get them on board, or taking someone to that extra level up so that they're really raising their game, to your point, that 5 years out?
Oh, don't make me choose. It's so fun. Both are super fun. My heart will always go out to the gal or the guy that is like starting out and they need to up their game and they need to be thinking more strategically about their image, because it is part of your marketing. And if you're not taking advantage of that, you're leaving an advantage at home in your closet every day. So I love teaching that. I love seeing the transformations, because they can be so drastic in the folks that are just starting out. But on the other hand, helping people get to that higher level is also very gratifying. It can be more subtle, but the experience can be, more fun in other ways. I like them both, honestly.
No, I like it. I like it. That works out well. So this is a question I'm really interested in knowing the answer to. I ask this to just about every one of the guests that come on this show. As I listed, from being an author, a podcaster, a counselor, a stylist, an image consultant, a mom, an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, a speaker, all of these things mixed together. Every now and then, even the superhero Rose Jubb has an off day. On those days that you're not truly thriving, who or what practice do you seek to help get yourself back on the thriving track?
Oh, that is a really great question. Laughing usually helps for me, and getting outside usually helps for me. Just moving. So if I am in a low vibe moment, I will get outside and move around, usually removing myself from whatever environment I'm in the moment, and just moving is what snaps me out of it.
I like it. I love the movement thing. I'm also in the big movement fest. Yeah. And you do live in a really cool part of the world. So it's Portland and the Pacific Northwest.
Portland
awesome.
Is beautiful. So it's really easy to find places to hike, and it's just gorgeous, unless it's raining. It's not raining today, though. So fab.
All right. So it's the beginning of 2019 that we recorded this. This is going to air sometime in February, March. I forgot when I have it on the calendar. But the question for you, Rose, give us kind of the BHAG for your business in helping both Style Class and your brand to grow for the next year. What are you mostly focused on this year? What are you most excited about?
I am most excited about speaking, because it is a fun way for me to get in front of as many people as possible. And I always say I will be the next Stacey London. Stacey London, if you are listening to this, girl, you are my mentor and you don't even know it. Forever. But getting out there and helping as many people as possible, whether or not they translate into customers or not, just sharing my expertise, it feels so good. And also speaking, I'm an extra large ham, so I love it on many levels. So it's very satisfying to get up on stage and share what I know. So speaking is going to be awesome. Consulting is going to be amazing. Still helping my clients here in Portland, and growing the Owner Society is really, really exciting as well.
I like it. You got lots of things going on. Rose, let's do this. Let's do the admin part of this show. Share with the Thrive Loud listeners all the places people can find you, websites, social media, links, everything. We're going to put it all in the show notes, but when it comes from you, everybody knows to go.
Oh, yes. Well, you can, it's fairly easy. You can go to mystyleclass.com, or you can catch me on Instagram at mystyleclass, or you can catch me on Facebook at mystyleclass. Very, very easy.
That was simple, straightforward, and to the point. I like that. All right. So we got 2 more questions for Rose Jubb before we leave here. Let's go with the signature one here. Rose Jubb, your all-time favorite movie?
Anything with John Cusack in it. But most specifically, I really like Grosse Point Blank.
That is a really good movie.
It is so good. It is. He's just hilarious. He just gets me.
There's a spectacular scene with Dan Aykroyd, one of my favorite actors, where they're talking about creating the union for the contract killers at the diner. That's one of my favorite conversations. Will there be meetings? I don't like meetings. I
don't like meetings. Get some onions. Good for the blood.
Oh, very, very true. See, you love that movie. All right, Rose, and this is where I wanted to go with this because I said I got to do this in here. There's actually a woman here in New York. I'll give a shout out to who actually helped put some stuff together for me. I needed help in the way that I wanted to look on stage or with clients and whatnot. Yeah. And so here's a challenge. The challenge, which is kind of a question and a challenge, is as you look at, have you ever been in a situation where someone else has advised someone a certain style and you've recognized that that might not be the best look for them? And did you ever step up and say something? So that's like a double question there. Have you ever seen it and then jumped up and said, I see what's going on here and I want to be able to help? And I know that's a tough question because I've actually seen stylists like go at it and go in different directions, but I want to hear your thoughts on this. Has this ever happened to you?
It has. I have seen it. I take a subtle approach because often people have more style chops than they believe. I mean, that might not be good for business to say that, but they often just need some, a little bit of approval, a little bit of guidance here or there. Usually what a stylist says, in my opinion, after meeting hundreds of clients and helping hundreds of people online, like, you will gravitate towards your own personal style eventually. So if I see something they're doing and they've worked with a stylist before, I know that it might be partly what the stylist said, and it's probably a big part what their own personal style actually is.
Okay. I like
so I have to be subtle and careful, and usually just finding out why the person is making those choices or why the stylist said that will lead me to guide a little bit more here or there. But it is, it is a subjective art, dressing and styling. So nobody's right, nobody's wrong.
Although I think we all know there is that line that everyone knows that looked good and that doesn't. I think there's something along the right. You're right. There might be little fine accoutrements or adjustments or little things here or there, but there's always that one thing that you look at somebody and goes, dude, that looked great. I mean, we see it we're recording this a few weeks or whatever around the Oscars. And we know that like every year they're always analyzing what someone dressed, whatever. And then there's always that one that you look at and go, what the heck were they thinking? When that person wore that outfit. Now I understand that's a fashion battle contest type thing. But when it comes to real people, I'm glad you spoke up and said that you've seen it before, because I think a lot of us have. And I've always wanted to know how you guys handle it. So thank you.
It's more about, figuring out the psychology behind it. Like, I wonder why that stylist was best for them at that time. That style may have been best for them at that time, but maybe they've moved on and there's a reason they're reaching out to me. So I can usually leverage that.
Rose Jubb, truly a pleasure to have you on Thrive Loud. And I'm looking forward to seeing you out there speaking and getting the word out. And we'll crisscross paths, and I'll make sure I'll check in with you saying, how am I looking?
Yeah. I'll always let you know. I won't ever hold back.
Fair enough. Thanks again for coming on the show, Rose.
Thanks, Lou.
And to all the Thrive Loud listeners out there, thank you for joining us. And until next time, keep thriving onward and upward. And remember, be brief, be bright, be gone.
Advice, should I go to the reunion?
Yes, get out of town.
Thank you. Go see some old friends. Have some punch. Visit with what's her name?
Debbie.
Debbie. Don't kill anybody for a few days. See what it feels like.
I'll give it a shot.
No, don't give it a shot. Don't shoot anything.
You've been listening to Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond. You lucky person, you. As long as you're not a weirdo, make sure to subscribe on iTunes, Overcast, or wherever you get your podcasts. Please, I'm begging you. We're really cool. Also, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Come on, I know you all have those social media platforms and you use them on the daily. If not, find us on the web at thriveloud.com. It was nice thriving with you, and see you next time.